Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about somebody that's really known in the muscle car hobby in the higher circles and higher end Mopars especially. Fred Engelhart and Adam Engelhart of Engelhart Performance are out of Minnesota, and they're known for buying and selling high-end muscle cars. If you don't know, a lot of those cars sell without being advertised, so those cars move in circles that most people don't know about. I met Fred about 25 years ago. I had a car for sale listed in Hemmings, and he came down and bought it, a 68 Barracuda Hemi Superstock clone. I later ended up selling him a Max Wedge car that had a 63 Dodge. So that's how I got to meet Fred. He's always been a real nice, personable guy. Roughly 10, 12, whatever years ago, or 15 years ago, Fred went through some trouble, I know. And I'd heard about it, and I'd read in Mopar Collector's Guide about him. And I didn't know the details. I just knew what was in that magazine about him, and it wasn't very detailed. So I know he had done some time for that, and I assumed that maybe he'd learned his lesson and wasn't doing those things anymore, whatever it was that he was doing. So anyway, I'd been dealing with him. He'd call me every once in a while, wouldn't know if I knew of any cars for sale, and I'd tell him, and he's bought a few of those cars that I've told him about. He'd call and tell me he had cars for sale and wouldn't know if I knew of any buyers. And I'd send him buyers his way. They'd bought his cars, and the transactions went okay. Fred was usually slow to get them the car or get the title or something like that, but he always got it done. So my goal in talking about Fred and Adam and Engelhart Performance today is to make sure that you don't go through what I went through. Now, I'm going to go through the story of what I went through so you can see why I did what I did and why I'm at this spot where I'm making this video for YouTube. Fred called me in December of 2024 wanting to know if I knew anybody that wanted to buy a Daytona project car, and I asked him the details on it. He told me about it. I told him I was interested. How much was he asking for it? And he said he wanted $100,000 for it. It's a red automatic car. It's in Minnesota, close to him, and that's all I knew about it. He sent me some pictures of it, and I told him I'd take it. So I went to the bank, borrowed the money, wired him the money. He sent me a text with the VIN number of the car, basically like a bill of sale through the text to make it official. This was, like I say, end of 2024, and it was wintertime, and he told me that it was in a barn, it was hard to get to, it was buried behind a bunch of other cars, so I would have to wait till springtime to get it. And I was okay with that. So I said, that's fine. I'll go ahead and pay you for it. And when the car's ready, just holler at me when it dries out enough to come get it or whatever. So anyway, I wait. Spring comes. He has excuses. The guy's in a home. He tells me it's at this guy's friend's place that's a prepper, and he's kind of worried about having people come to his property and all these excuses I got. So every 2 or 3 weeks, I'd call him or text him, and he always had an excuse. So all summer goes by of 2025, and it gets to winter again. The car snowed in again. So I'm like, well, whatever, you know. I've known Fred a long time. He's never done me wrong. I'm sure he knows of this car. It's a real car, I'm assuming. And so I wasn't too upset about it because I wasn't in a hurry to get it anyway. I was expanding my shop, doing other things, so I wasn't in a hurry to have another car sitting here that was going to be a big money pit to restore. So it was free storage in my mind. Anyway, at the end of 2025, around early December, again, he calls me. He has a Superbird that he bought, he told me, out of a museum. It's a B5 blue, 4-speed, bucket seat, black interior car. He wanted to know if I knew of any buyers. And I said, well, how much do you want? He said 220. I said, well, I don't know off the top of my head of anybody that's interested in that, but I'd tell some people. 3 or 4 days goes by, and he calls me back. And he says, hey, that Superbird, he goes, I need to sell it. I need some cash. He goes, I'll sell it for 180. I said, for 180, I'll buy it, because he had sent me pictures. The car looked pretty nice. So here I am again, fat, dumb, and happy. I went and borrowed another $180,000 on a 4-year note, which is a high payment, and I wired in the money. My plan was to buy the car, get it back here. I assumed it being in a museum, it was going to need stuff like brake hoses and whatever. So I was going to fix all the issues of the car, and I was going to list it for sale or this Superbird that I have for sale. Whichever one I liked better, I was going to keep, was my plan. And my plan was to do that within less than a month, so I would have to pay any payment on this thing. So anyway, I paid the money. He supposedly buys the car. He's supposed to deliver it, and it never shows up. He's supposed to deliver it like Thanksgiving weekend of 2025, and it never showed. So yeah, he called me, actually it was in middle November or early November, and it's supposed to have it delivered before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving comes and goes. He has reasons why he can't get the car delivered. So I'm like, whatever. So a couple of weeks go by. He's supposed to have it to me. He doesn't. I call him. I told him that I got somebody interested in buying it, which I did. I'd mentioned the car to some local people, and they were interested in looking at it to possibly buy it. And he says, well, how much did you price it for? And I said, well, I priced it for 200. And he goes, well, if I can get you 200 for it, would you just let me sell it and make $5 grand off somebody here local that's interested in it now that I've gotten it? I said, well, if I can sell it for 200 and not have to go mess with working on the car or anything, the heck, I would do that. So he supposedly sells the car for me, and he's supposed to wire me the money. And then about a week goes by, then 2 weeks go by, and he goes, hey, can I pay you $5,000 to let me keep the money for an extra couple of weeks to make a few flips? And I said, well, I don't mind waiting a few more weeks for $5,000. So this happens. Time goes by. He asks to pay me more money to take longer. So long story, this $5,000 that he's supposed to pay me to do this has grown to $55,000, and he still hasn't paid me anything. So he owes me 100 grand on the Daytona. He owes me 185 grand on the Superbird because I paid extra to have him deliver it, plus all this interest. So he's at 355,000 now, and he hasn't paid me anything. So I made a post about this on Facebook. It got 200,000 views in 3 days. I basically just said, hey, beware of this guy. He's a crook. And I posted about the cars that he supposedly sold me. Well, one of the people posted on there that they had just seen that blue Superbird the week before at Doc's Harley-Davidson in Wisconsin. So that was on the weekend. So Monday, I called Doc's Harley-Davidson. I talked to a guy named Shannon that works there, and he says, yes, we have that car. And I asked if it was for sale. He goes, no. I said, well, did Fred Engelhart try to buy it? He goes, no. He goes, Fred called us, asked if we would sell it, and we told him no, and that was the end of the story. So anyway, long story short, Fred sold me a car with the VIN number and pictures of this car. He never owned the car, never had access to the car. I paid him the money. He lied to me about selling this car to somebody else. He never paid me, and he's dragged me out for 7 months now. And it's every week, it's I'll pay you Friday, I'll pay you Monday, I'll pay you Wednesday. Can I pay you extra to let me wait an extra week or two? I'll make it worth your time. I've got this other deal going. I've got a wire coming in Monday. I'll pay you all of it on Monday. Monday comes, you get nothing. Then, well, I'll pay you by Friday, every bit of it. Okay, Friday comes, you get nothing. So I've been going through this for 7 months now. So after this last post, he called me. He was very upset. He did not like that I posted about him, and he did not like that I brought up the fact that his son is involved with this. He tells me that it's not fair to his son. I said, well, your son works for you. You pay him. He knows what's going on. So in my mind, he's involved. He's just as much involved with this as you are. He knows what's going on. There's no doubt about that. So anyway, Fred Engelhart, Adam Engelhart, Engelhart Performance. I'd avoid them all you can because he's not true to his word, obviously. So after I made this post, I also got quite a few texts, quite a few phone calls, quite a few messages from other people that he owes money to. One guy, Fred sold a car for him, an A12, I think it was a Roadrunner, 20 years ago for $120,000. Fred never paid him for the car. He's paid him a little bit here and there over 20 years. He's paid him $50,000 in 20 years, and he still owes the guy $70,000 on an A12 car. I just talked to this guy last week. Another guy has got, I think, a CUDA. Fred owes the guy $365,000 on it. Has not paid the guy a dime, as far as I know. There was a couple more guys that I talked to, and then there's quite a few guys that did not want to give details about themselves or their car. So what's happening is people always tell me instantly, well, you got to call a lawyer, you got to call the FBI, and I want to do that, but these other guys have done that, and they've spent $30,000, $35,000 for a judgment, and it gets them nothing. They go to court, they tell Freddie owes them some money, and they never get anything. So I'm not going to spend $35,000 and get nothing. I've already spent $300,000 and got nothing. Fred has millions of dollars worth of liens against his property. He owes millions and millions of dollars that I know of to people that he's scammed. So if you're waiting around hoping that he's going to pay you Monday or Friday or Wednesday, it's not going to happen anytime soon. You're grasping at straws. Fred does not have the money to pay these people back, obviously, or he would have done it, or he's just obviously a crook and he's keeping the money for himself for whatever he's doing. But anyway, he owes a lot of people money. I don't want anybody else to get burned. So here's what I know. Fred does not like the truth, which is bad publicity, and he does not like his son being brought up. And the fact is, his son's involved, and this is bad publicity. I'm going to share it all I can because I don't want anybody else to go through what I went through. I'm a big boy. I can handle this, but I don't want anybody else to go through what I went through. So that's why I'm making this video. And I hope you share this. I'm going to post Fred's phone number on here. You can call him. You can ask him. And listen, when you call him and you ask him if he's made things right with me, he's going to tell you yes. I've had friends call and or people that I know call him, and he's told them, oh yeah, everything's handled, everything's taken care of. Well, he's full of crap because he has paid me nothing. His phone number is 507-450-4804. One thing about Fred is he's actually pretty good at answering the phone. So if you call him, the odds are he will answer or he will call you back. But pick his brain and ask him why he's ripping off so many people and why he hasn't paid me. If he gives you some BS about how he's already paid me, he's lying to you. Please look me up, shoot me a message, Smother Supercars on my website, my Facebook page, or call me on my business line. If you've been burned by Fred, call me. We're getting some stuff together to take care of this. So we've got some police involved, we got some FBI involved, we've got some things going on. So I'm not going to wait 20 years and hope I get paid by Fred. So I'm going to make some movements right now. Thank you for your time.